Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. We are so happy that you join us every week. As your host, again, my name is Colleen Biggs. I am so excited that we get the opportunity to provide this platform and this spotlight for these amazing women that are in our community to step into the spotlight, share their stories, share their struggles, share their triumphs, and share how they've been able to be successful in their life, in their businesses, in their relationships, and even as a mother. Trust me, when you're successful as a mother, you feel like you've made it. It's just the way it is. And for those of you that don't have kids, when you're successful in your business, when you're successful in a relationship, whatever it may be, celebrate it. When you hit the success, celebrate it. Today, I'm very excited to be having the conversation with these ladies and talking about how do you stand out? It's a big question I get. How do you stand out? And I want to share a secret with you. We have our own fingerprints. We have our own identities. We are meant to stand out, not fit in. That's why it takes so much effort to try to fit in, because we're not meant to fit in. I know society tells you to dress like this, wear these clothes, eat this food, do your hair this way, blah. Throw it all out the window. You're meant to be you, the awesome you that you are. So we're going to be talking a lot about how each one of these women that are with me today stand for their truth, say what they mean, and stand out. I'm really excited about that. But before we get to that, we have a couple of events coming up that I want to get out there very quickly for any of you that want to attend. We have a monthly lunch and learn. This is a very awesome opportunity for you. Why do you say it's an opportunity for you? Because you get to network with other women that you don't know. You get to network with women that are outside of your current circle of influence. So this gives you the opportunity to expand your circle of influence. And in addition to that, you have the opportunity to be educated and motivated and inspired by me. Yes, I'm going to step in a spotlight and I'm going to teach you every month something a little bit different. This time we're talking about how you can live a fulfilled life and master you to master your success. I'm sorry, but you can't master success if you don't work on this right here. It's just the way it works, ladies. I'm just going to be truthful with you. So we're going to be talking about that in September, and then we have October and November. Also available, all of this is available at leadupforwomen.com. All you have to do is click on our events. We also have free webinars that we do twice a month. Wendy Yates is showing up at our next Teaching Tuesday webinar, which is next Tuesday. So jump in and sign up for that. And of course, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm working on a new project right now, which I'm very excited about. We're going to be exploding our YouTube channel, which brings me to my first co-host that I have been working with that is here today to share her genius, Indy Rossi. Hello, Indy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Colleen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. And hey, ladies, nice to see you too.
Yes, so Indy is a YouTube influencer. This girl blew up her YouTube channel, and I would love for her to talk about why she's here, who she is, and what her big announcement that she has today as our special co-host. Indy, the spotlight is yours.
Okay, all right, where to start? Just about me from the beginning then, Colleen?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, great. So I guess I can start with why I started my channel in the first place. So in January this year, I decided that I wanted to stand up and stand out, quote unquote. This was before I met Colleen, by the way. I wanted to stand up and stand out and build an audience behind me to propel me to the next place I wanted to go in my life, which is just higher success. I didn't know exactly where I was going, but I knew I wanted people behind me. So my partner and I decided to start a YouTube channel, and we spent a lot of time figuring it out. And now 8 months later, in August, we've just hit the 200,000 subscriber mark. And so we saw really massive growth in a short amount of time. And I met some really amazing people in my audience and outside of it, just from growing and developing as a person, as an entrepreneur, as an influencer. And I hate that word really, because I'm just me, right? But Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm so happy to be where I am now. And Colleen's right, you really have to work on yourself first before you can expect any growth in any other areas of your life. So, yeah.
So, so true. And, be proud to stand in the spotlight as an influencer. It's what you wanted to be a leader, to be an influencer. You have to have an audience, you have to have followers. You can't lead nobody.
That's right.
I don't even understand how people say they're a leader. It's like, does anyone even know who you are? Does anyone even look up? Is there anybody there? That's the definition of leader in the dictionary. Someone's following you. So it's something you should be very proud of, Indy. That is a huge accomplishment. And so I just want to throw it out there, and she didn't know I was going to say this. Indy's going to be putting her information in the comments on Facebook, but we also have our description here on the podcast. So she's going to have her information on the description of how you can reach out to her. Have you been wanting to blow up a YouTube channel? This is an opportunity for you to gain a completely different audience than you've been working on social media, as far as like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. This gives you the opportunity to get hundreds of thousands of followers and get yourself in front of all of these people that have never heard of you before. So who wouldn't want to do that? I want to do that. So that's why I'm working with Indy. And so I want to encourage everyone out there, if you have something to say and you want it to be heard, whether you believe it or not, if you don't believe in yourself, join Lead Up for Women, because when we're done with you, you'll believe in yourself. But the second step needs to be, you got to go hire Indy. You got to work with her. Her and her partner know what they are doing to get you to the level of an influencer, because she did this in just very few months. So Indy, what announcement do you have for us today?
Oh my gosh. I don't want this to be a lot about myself. So I really want to say I'm thrilled to be working with Colleen for the 12-month direct coaching course that she has. And my announcement is really that no matter who you are, what you do, or what you talk about, what you like, there's a place for you on YouTube and in the world. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and grow that audience. And that's it.
You can't be afraid to put yourself out there, and that's an amazing audience. And I, too, am blessed and honored to work with you, Indy, which she mentioned my LEAP program, and I didn't even bring that up. So I do bring in elite women that are really looking to take their business, their life, their relationships, whatever it may be, mainly business. I'm very business-driven, to the next level. So if you're serious about your business and you want to take it to the next level, feel free to contact me. You can reach me everywhere on my website. I'm Colleen Biggs all over social media. I'm easy to find, and I'll drop my information in the description as well. So Indy, I love your announcement. I love that, you just have to take the first step and start. And trust me when I tell you, I'm in front of videos all the time. People aren't looking for the perfect you. They want you. That's what they want. And Indy can help you navigate your way through that success as being an influencer on YouTube. And right, we talk about you shouldn't ever do this alone. Don't think that you can become an influencer alone, because even Indy didn't. She had her partner who was very well versed behind the scenes in YouTube, and she's the front of YouTube. He's the behind the scenes that got her there. Does that make sense? So it takes a community of people. So thank you, Indy, for being with us today, and stay with us, because we'd love your comments and questions as we go out throughout this podcast. So thanks for being here. All right. So I'm going to start with the beautiful Ashley because she's first on my list. There really is no reason why I picked Ashley. I've only known Ashley for maybe since May. I think it was April or May. I joined, I too have a coach and joined a group, and Ashley and I have this same coach that we work with in business. And that's how I met Ashley. We became fast friends. It was very obvious. Our energy was very much the same. She's a no BS, let's just get stuff done, I'm going to conquer the world kind of person. I was like, you're my people. You are my people, girl. And so we just hit it off right away. I got to meet her finally in person for the very first time when I got to fly to Chicago to go to a business intensive training. It was really awesome to spend the time with her and to spend the time with the group of about 15 of us that were in the room. So again, surrounding yourself with community and people is so important to your success. And now I get to meet all these wonderful women. You know, they cross our paths for a reason. So if someone's crossing your path, find out why and pay attention to it. And if you're pulled to someone, figure out why you're pulled to someone. You know, explore it. And I see Joan shaking her head. Yes, we need to explore why these people are in our path. So Ashley, besides being a badass in the Army, besides being a mom to like more kids than I have, I'm just kidding. She has 4 kids, but she's managing little ones. You know, she's managing little ones while she's building her bookkeeping business. And she's very unique in how she takes that approach. So Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, you're awesome. And you do monthly events. There's so much you do to not only work with clients one-on-one. I love your strategy of educating everybody in having these events where anyone can come to the event and learn kind of the ins and outs of if they wanted to do their bookkeeping on their own, or if they feel like I'm not at the level to need a bookkeeper. That's a joke, by the way. If you're not, you know, you always need a bookkeeper. So Ashley, let's get in a little bit of your story. So I want to go back to, you're in the Army, you come out of the Army, you meet your husband. What did you really think your life was going to be like? You know, but let's go all the way back to the Ashley when she got out of the Army and what she saw her life like, and then where your life is today, where you just like, it looks nothing the same.
So I actually met Eric in the Army. We met our first day of basic training. We got in a lot of trouble. If anybody's been in, they know what an Article 13 is. We got in trouble for talking to each other. And I mean, that was it. We were talking to each other. But so I met him there, and then we hit it off as friends. You know, we go on, we get out of the military and have, you know, a million children, as Colleen said. And as I was getting out, I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I mean, you go back into civilian life and you're like, well, what now? And so my husband and I, we both were in school. We had a couple of kids and we were just figuring it out. And I needed to get an accounting degree. I tried different fields and I was like, oh, nope, nursing, that's not for me. Oh, nope, this marketing, nope, that's not for me. And so accounting was perfect for me. But then after having children, I'm like, I have to be a mom too. So I decided to be Googling some stuff, and I found a great program to help me launch a bookkeeping business, because even though I'm an accountant and I can use that title, I really like the word bookkeeper, because I feel like an accountant is somebody that you hand your receipts at the end of the year and say, hey, do my taxes. I feel like a bookkeeper is somebody that actually gets into your finances with you, cares about what's going on in your business, wants you to succeed also. So there's somebody that's going to be a partner with you, not just somebody that is doing your taxes at the end of the year and saying, bon voyage, see you next year. So that's why I decided to do a bookkeeping business. I always had a huge passion for wanting to help women. So I really focus on wanting to help business women understand their finances, because it is one of the hardest subjects that people have to understand. And as a business owner, you do have to know your finances, but that's not why you got into business. You got into business to do what you love best. And I love finances. So that's why I got into business. And I love to partner with women and empower them to know what's going on in their finances, to make better decisions, and to grow their business. Because I don't know about you, I want to conquer the world. That's what I want to do. And the only way to do that is to grow an empire. And that's what I'm in the middle of doing right now.
Mm-hmm. She is too. Let me tell you, this girl is a no stop. I remember she started before you started working with a coach, let's just back up. You had how many clients?
I popped up to 10. I had dropped down before I started working with Jean to 3, because I just decided that people weren't a good fit for me. And then I started growing it, and now I have tripled that. So yeah, I've tripled my 10. Let me just rephrase that. I'm up at 30. So yeah, it's not bad. I'm happy. Okay.
Not bad in just, less than a year that you've been able to accomplish that. And it was really getting the strategies. It's first of all her personality, right? She's in it to win it with you. And I love it when there's somebody there that you can trust. Trust is huge. People want to do business with people they trust. And Ashley's very trustworthy, very honest. So she not only gets into your finances that I know about her, but she's really looking to save you funds, to help guide you in maybe money that you're spending, that she can help you navigate that down a different path and say, you're kind of wasting your money in this area. What if you were to do this with your funds? So she's really looking, I like to say she finds her fees, in your finances. And so she winds up being free of charge because she's helping you save money and grow your money. And I think that's really an important partner to have, because ladies, we did not get in this because we want a hobby. We got in this because we want to make money. And if you're calling it a business and you're not making money, you still have a hobby. So if you want to grow a business, money comes with that. We cannot be ashamed to make money or want more of it. Because men aren't.
You also can't be scared of it. You can't be scared of knowing what's going on in that, because that's the biggest thing, is how can you grow it if you don't know?
Yeah, if you don't know. So tell us, you are fun, you are stubborn, you are full of energy. She loves Fireball. I learned that about her too, and her tequila. Tell me, no, I just, I think the thing that I love most about Ashley is she's Ashley. That's who you get. Like, you never get another version. You just get Ashley. And if Ashley's tired, you get the tired Ashley. But you're always getting Ashley. Tell me, why is it important to you in helping other people with their finances? Tell me why now that you've chosen it, now that you've been in it, now that you've worked with clients, now that you even choose, I want to work with you, I do not want to work with you. We get to make those choices too. Why? What is it for you?
I've just always I have the longest dream of wanting to be in healthcare, because I have a really big heart for loving people. And I always want the best for everybody. I would give my shirt, my shoes, my earrings if you needed them. And I want to just be there for people. And it's such a frustrating thing. I'll be the first to admit, I was not good at finances in my younger years, and it was a very overwhelming thing. And I just was so defeated by it that I could not stand to do anything other than conquer it. And I know that's a feeling that a lot of people have, is to being frustrated and not even wanting to deal with their finances. So if I can help somebody take that kind of anxiety away, and then they can focus on something else, I'm happy to do that, because I want to help and love on everybody. And so I just really feel like I was put on this earth to engulf people in taking away their stress. Even if it's something that I take on myself, I'm okay with that. I love doing it. So that's why I'm here.
I would say, how many people have stress around money? Everybody has stress around money. It's like one of the number one things that break up relationships, the number one things that causes depression, the number one things that causes addictions. It's like money is just, and because of that, we perceive money as being evil, right? Because it's the root of all evil. Have you heard that? Money is the root of all evil. Again, another one of those stupid tapes that my parents would play in my head, subliminally when I was younger. No, it's not evil. It can be a wonderful thing, because without money, nonprofits can't exist, right? If you want to spread your message and you want to help more people and you want to change the landscape of the way that the world looks today, if you are on a mission, it takes money to do that. To be an influence, it takes money to build that empire, so we need the money. Finances are important. And I love that you said it was something that you wanted to conquer because you didn't understand it. It was a tough subject for you. So lesson right here that we need to pin and anchor in, you can do anything you put your mind to. You just have to apply the effort behind it. You just have to apply the effort. And, Ashley does something else. I talked about her events that she does. Do you think that with 4 kids at home, by the way, that are in e-learning that she does every single day because the children are not back to school, her husband's also working from home, and he has a full-time business, and she is running a full-time business. Can you imagine the household and how much time they have?
No.
None of us have excuses.
None.
None of us have excuses anymore about, oh, I just couldn't get that done today because I was busy doing this or that. You know, she's got 4 kids running around and trying to do e-learning in different grades with different classes with each one of these children. And she has a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Let me just throw that out.
And 2 of my children are in full-time sports. So it's like an evening. What's an evening? I'm that mom at the soccer field with my laptop working, because at soccer practice, you know, I have to. That's what you have to do.
Let's give some tips and tricks real quick. What works for you? Because there's moms out there listening right now that are trying to run their businesses, that feel like they can't be all of these identities and be awesome at it. What's some advice?
So for me, it's about a schedule. One, I like to schedule things. I have to make sure that this is my block of time. This is when I'm doing it. I'm an early bird. So I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, even though I don't have to be. I'm up at 4 because I like my me time. And so I like to work out. I like to I'm on an accountability call at 5 a.m. I take care of my clients' daily work at that time. And so I know that the people that have entrusted their finances to me are taken care of. Then I work my day. I have e-learning now from 9 until noon. And then the rest of the day is my work, but I definitely block time so that I know that I am getting to the things that I need to. But in that time, I am laser focused. I get my stuff done and there's no BS. I don't have time for it. So that's what I just block off. And I'm not scared to ask Eric to pick something up. I'm not scared to ask him to help out. I'm not scared to ask my kids to switch over the laundry or do those things. So I have older ones also. So I can do those things.
That's great advice. Yeah. You need to be laser focused, schedule your me time early, get into a community of accountability because you have a 5 a.m. call that you do that keeps you accountable to be up early so that you can plan your day and have me time before the kids even wake up. So it's super important because then you can go to bed early. When the kids go to bed, you can go to bed. You know, that's just the way it works. So tell us about your event, Ashley, and how people can get in contact with you for you to help them find your fees and their finances.
So I host the Business Bookkeeping Bootcamp. I am hosting it on September 24th. We're starting at 10 a.m. You can follow my Facebook page, Each Penny Bookkeeping. I've got all of the information on there. I host it once a month. I don't know off the top of my head when my October one is, but we're doing it in September. You can follow me there. And that's the way. Just get a hold of me there.
Yeah, it's a must go to. I went to the last one. It's $49, I think. I don't even remember. What is the cost?
$47.
$47. You get a full day, and that's 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I just want to make sure all of us we're all over the world. We're in different time zones. So that's 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's online. So you do an all day online business bookkeeping. So even if you don't hire Ashley, you're still going to get a full day of finance training for $47. So worth it. And we're going to have all Ashley's information. You can click on the link in the podcast description, or you can go DM her on Facebook or click on the link to sign up and register. And she sends you a package in the mail. And so you have all of your notes and that you need and all of your information. So it's definitely it's a workbook. You know, it's a follow along. You're really going to get something out of this and be educated. And what do we always say? If learning is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. You have to continue expanding your mind and learning. Ashley, thank you so much for being with us today. And it's Each Penny Bookkeeping. Did you guys get that? eachpennybookkeeping.com. And let me ask you one last question. If I asked your husband, what is his favorite trait about you, what would he say? You've got to keep this one clean.
I was going to say, where are we going with this? My caring. I feel that I know that he knows that I'm caring, that I take care of everybody and that I don't qualm about any of it. So I think that that's where he would go with it.
Yeah. And I see a relationship forming between Indy and Ashley here, because who needs education on financing? There's a whole audience on YouTube waiting to be able to dig in and understand more about what you do, and how you do it, and how they can learn just the little things. And oh, let's talk really quick before I move on to Joan. Tell me about your celebration that you just had for a client. What were you able to help them with?
Oh, I just got a client. They got their PPP loan forgiveness for $126,000. They got it forgiven.
Yeah,
So
and they
we're
were
super
able to.
excited.
They were able to jump in right away, apply, get all of their information done because their books were ready, their books were clean, they knew exactly what, they were just prepared. You have to be prepared. People ask me all the time, what do we do in a time like this? If you're not pivoting, if you're not prepared, if you're not ready, if you're not always ready for the unknown, then that's where you're going to sink in the quicksand. You've got to be prepared. You don't have time to catch up. So always be prepared. And then trust me, I've had years where it was like, oh my gosh, I'm still working on my taxes. I'm still doing my books. This is worse. I have to like go through credit card receipts. And no, we don't want to, this is not productive with your time. You make no money trying to work on those things. Have someone take care of you all year, and then it'll just be ready. And in 5 minutes, it could be handed over. Here you go, do my taxes. Everything's ready. Everything's ready to go. And you never know when you need to apply for a loan. Or, when financing is needed. So you need to be prepared. So Ashley, thank you for all of your advice today. And that's how Ashley shows up, stands in her truth, and is seen by everyone. How could you not? I mean, she's an amazing person, mother, friend, and bookkeeper, right?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Ashley. All right, let's talk to Joan. Joan's way out east, my friend on the East Coast. I just love her to death. She writes for Forbes. She's a journalist. She's a speaker. She's a coach. There's so much about Joan I could talk about. I love her stand on saying and speaking her truth. I think that is what I most love. And I've talked about this several times. We can have differences. Some of my best friends are the exact opposite me on religion, the exact opposite me on my beliefs of politics. It doesn't matter. We can agree to disagree, but we can still be connected on so many other levels of things that bring us together. And so don't let the religion and politics and the differences that you have there tear you apart from other people. You still need to speak up. You still need to use your voice. Do not be afraid to stand in your truth. And that, to me, is what Joan stands for. I mean, besides her CBS News, 60 Minutes, HuffPost, like Forbes magazine, she runs a podcast called Green Connection Radio. I could go on and on and on. Oh, wait, you were chosen by the USA Today as one of the top 6 podcasts for business travelers. High five, girl. That's amazing. So let me, without further ado, Miss Joan Michelson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And full disclosure, I have Colleen is coming up on my show too soon. So I'm really excited about that. We had a great conversation yesterday and it'll be coming up soon. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to say is to Ashley, I really love your whole vibe and I love what you do. Money gives you options, right? And you have to understand the reality of what's going on. You can't fix something if you don't know what it is. And
Absolutely.
Putting your head in the sand is ridiculous, right? You're not going to find a solution in the sand.
Yep. Absolutely.
And you seem to be someone, I'm just meeting you, but you're so kind and so user-friendly around a topic that is so emotionally charged. I mean, even people who have their money stuff together, it's emotionally charged, right? It's just an order of magnitude. It's just the matter of zeros. So I just love your whole vibe around this difficult issue for everybody to manage. And you have this sense of just like, here, I'll just take this for you.
Yeah. That's what I love doing.
It's lovely. It's really great. I just want to should give you a shout out on that. I picked up on it like right away.
Thanks, Joan. That was very sweet of you. So let's talk about, and we've gotten into this a little bit when you and I have been in conversation, but women could hear where you've been, what you've accomplished, the awards that you've been given, you know, being in Fortune 500 companies as, you know, an executive, and all that you've accomplished as a journalist, that can be very intimidating for other women when they hear that, because they may not feel that they could accomplish that, or that they've, oh wow, she's done so much in her life, and here I've done XYZ. And again, ladies, where there's no comparison, okay, I want you to drop the comparisons out right now if you're starting to compare yourself to Joan, because I'm gonna peel back a few layers and we're gonna talk to Joan about the real Joan. Right? So Joan, you spent 20 years in corporate America, Fortune 500 companies. So I did too, right? I spent many 30 years in corporate America. Tell me, moving from corporate America, how did you get the opportunity? What happened in your life? What gravitated you to doing what you're doing today? Give us a little background story of Joan, the real Joan.
So I've been going back and forth between corporate communications and journalism since, I joke that it's pre-birth, because my dad had an ad agency when I was a kid growing up in New York City. I'm a bona fide city girl in New York City, born and raised. And I joke that I'm the youngest of 4 kids. And I think the first thing I read out loud was my father's advertising copy for the radio. And so I've literally been going back and forth forever. So I went down the marketing communications path, but I always wanted to be a journalist. And then I finally had an opportunity. I did what I call corporate journalism in the corporate sector. I was managing editor of newsletters that were, you know, today is called thought leadership, but it's really information. Okay, it's under a corporate banner, but it's about financial stuff. I worked in financial services, Ashley, so I know your world. I worked for Deloitte, I worked for American Express, and so and other accounting firms as clients. And so, you know, you have to understand there's so many intricacies, and even people who are wealthy are just like, you know, and women especially, oh my God. I did a Women of Wealth series at American Express and discovered that even rich women who made their own money don't want to talk about money in front of men. Mm-hmm. It's weird. They won't, like, there's certain questions they just won't address. It's like they crawl under a rock. And these are multi-million-dollar women. It's just insane. But anyway, so when I had the opportunity to transition to journalism formally, I actually already had been doing, in effect, corporate journalism. I wrote for McKinsey's Journal. I did, you know, all these kinds of things. And to be honest with you, my first job was at 60 Minutes. I know that's really bizarre, but it came through, as you point out, Colleen, networking. I happened to meet somebody in a journalism class who knew somebody who knew somebody. And it was funny. I was in California at the time, and I'll never forget, they walked me into the 60 Minutes bureau, and the bureau chief turned to my soon-to-be senior producer and said, "Hey, we have a grown-up for you," meaning that I already had some experience. I wasn't, like, with all due respect, 22 out of college with no experience. And so we hit the ground running. We did major investigations that you may have heard of, but I'll save the time. But I would go back and forth between corporate communications and journalism because I have different opportunities. At one point, I had an opportunity then to pivot from there to run the communications through the LA mass transit system. And I just frankly thought that was cool and interesting. And I thought, well, okay, they're closing this 60 Minutes bureau in LA anyway. My then husband doesn't want to move back to New York. This is really cool. And we did hockey stick growth. We went from launched lines that went from 0 to 1 million riders a day. And then, make a long story short, I've always been, as you can tell, an innovator. And so I really focus on creative women like all you guys out there, and Colleen and Ashley and Indy, because women are innovators. And I discovered this even in corporate America. Women do not traditionally have the reins of power and access to the resources through the normal channels. So we have to be more creative. We don't have a choice, right? We have to find a way, find another way. So I ended up working for Chrysler, which got me onto the green economy path. And when I was asked to do a radio show on somebody's network, I decided to focus on this natural sense of women as innovators, because the green economy and intersect it with the green economy, because the green economy is so critical. And in fact, Ashley, I'd be curious to hear if your folks are investing by values, right? We'll talk about that. But that there's this intersection of innovation and wanting to do good that is especially true for women. Mm-hmm. We want to make a difference. We want to make the world a better place. And we're naturally thinking of things in a different way. And that comes, I'm actually going to do a talk on this with Colleen at one of her trainings about how women have natural innovators DNA and how we can use that to lead our best lives. Right? Mm-hmm. To lead up in our lives in whatever way, shape, or form that works for you. And again, I'm a businesswoman, so I focus on that. The only other thing I want to say right now is that I want to pull on a thread, Colleen, that you talked about, self-awareness. You can't manage your finances. You can't come up with new ideas. You can't get out of your own way if you don't have self-awareness, if you don't really know who you are. And I wrote about this in Colleen's magazine recently about this crisis that we're in now and people freaking out. And I'm tying it in now because you have to know who you are. And this opportunity of COVID and the crises where we're all spending a lot more time alone, except for Ashley, who has people crawling all over her. But you know what I mean? We're spending more time not running around so much, that it's a great opportunity to increase your self-awareness and to get to know who you are, as Colleen says, is so critical, and to really face the facts and hear your own thoughts. Turn off the news, she says as a journalist, right? Turn seriously, all information is not created equal. Notice what it does to you when you listen to it, and notice how you spend your time is affecting you and how it affects how you spend your time. Ashley obviously is very self-aware because she knows that her best time is early in the morning. Thank you. I'll be asleep at 4 a.m., but I'll, have a nice time. So I'm the opposite. I'm a little later again. So there you go. But that's my rhythm. I know myself that way, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about that, Joan. I'm glad that you talked about being an innovator and getting out of your own way. So what are let's talk about some tips on that. What are some of the tips and things that you do to get out of your own way and to be an innovator? How do you take those steps? Give us some advice on that.
So I purposely listen to and read things that make me think differently. Part of what I love about my podcast, well, frankly, the main thing I love about my podcast, is I talk to people who do things differently than I do, who think about things differently than I do, who frame things differently than I do. So it literally stimulates my brain cells and brings me new ideas, because then I'm connecting different dots and connecting them differently. So, you were talking about, Colleen, about coming up with new ideas. That's what it's about. I talked to the woman who heads up hydrogen fuel cells at Toyota, for example. You want to stretch your brain, but she makes it totally understandable, right? I make jokes that I spend so much time out of my comfort zone that I moved it. It's like, I just like this. But that's what I love about journalism, and that's what I love about communicating, is you're always learning, and and you're always talking to cool people like you guys and learning something new. And that's where you get the new ideas. The other is, again, with self-awareness in this particular time, is allowing yourself to hear your own ideas. I was talking to client yesterday who said that they have a hard time channeling ideas or whatever, and that the chatter, and it's like, just be quiet, just go for a walk, don't put headphones on. You don't have to, it's not deliberate. they call it daydreaming for a reason. Just kind of let your thoughts go. And I find some of my best ideas come during a walk. Some of them come when I'm just waking up. Some of them when I'm just falling asleep. I have pen and paper at every elbow. Okay. I mean, quite literally, like on every coffee table and whatever. And when I'm walking, I talk into my phone. I do the voice activated thing on the notes. It's really funny.
Mine come in the shower. So
there you go. We all have our place.
I can't write in the shower, but I do same. I keep a tablet on my end table. And how many of you have woken up in the middle of the night with an idea, or you have something coming up, like an event or a speaking engagement. All of a sudden you wake up and your entire speech just came to your mind, right? And if you don't have something to speak into right away or something to write, trust me, it will be gone. Because when you wake up again, the trace of it is gone. When you're getting a download, it's so important, Joan. I'm glad that you said that. Whatever you have in front of you, if it's speaking into your phone, whatever it is, record it and write it down, because it will leave you as quick as it can.
You have to capture it. The other thing I find is that capturing it frees you either to go back to sleep, frankly, or to think of something else, to be creative in another direction. If you're spending too much energy trying to remember that thing, and that thing may or may not be the greatest thing since chicken soup, right? So you don't know, and it might just lead you someplace else. But if you don't capture it, then you either lose it or it takes over. I mean, I find that I have to write down ideas in the middle of the night if I wake up with them, because otherwise I literally can't fall asleep. Yeah. The other thing, and I really want to stress this because I do a lot on this, and I think it's really important, partner with and hire people who purposely think differently than you do and who you think won't fit in. I have a talk I do called Hire the Outliers. And it's all about, and I've had people when I've given this speech come up to me afterwards and go, thank you. I never fit in corporate America, okay? Just really quickly, when I was hired by Chrysler to head up the communications and co-head the sales and marketing for the electric car division, they moved me to, brace yourself, Fargo, North Dakota. Okay, I'm a New York City girl who wears stilettos and cool suits, okay? I lived in DC. I didn't own a car. I never worked in the car business. I was a Martian.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's why I was able to do hockey stick growth, because I came in with new ideas. I mean, the president of the company literally said this when he personally recruited me. He said, this is exactly why you were successful, because you weren't bogged down by the way things have always been done, right? So bring in, partner with, hire people who you think are not going to fit in. I mean, Colleen said it before, we're conditioned, especially as women, to contort, to try to fit in. It's like, forget about it, right? Just be you and don't try so hard to fit in, be respectful, don't pound on people. And it is funny, like sometimes I have a lot of energy, obviously. So sometimes if I can feel a vibe that I'm talking to somebody face to face and they're a little overwhelmed, I just go, well, I have no passion about this at all. And I just call myself out on it. I just point it out for myself, like self-deprecating. And suddenly everything's cool. They don't, it's chill because they know
Yeah.
Joan,
let's talk about how, you're a journalist, you're a coach, you're a speaker. So if someone's hearing you today, they love your energy, they love your points of view, they love your perspective, and they wanted to hire you to be a speaker or work with you one-on-one, talk to us a little bit about how you're supporting women or men that you work with in your day-to-day work. And, how if someone wanted to become a journalist and they're aspiring to that, what are some steps that they can take?
Okay, so there's two different tracks there. To reach me, you can listen to my podcast, and we're starting to do more videos as well, but we're really we're everywhere. I've interviewed 300 people. Okay.
And that's
Almost
Green
all women.
Connections Radio.
Green
Yeah,
Connections
Green
Radio.
Connections Radio.
In the beginning, I interviewed a few men, and I actually got pushback from my audience, which is kind of funny. But I only interview women. I write for Forbes. You can find my stuff on Forbes or my website, which is greenconnectionsradio.com. Mm-hmm. I'm all over social media. Just put in my name. You can see it on the screen, Joan Michelson, and you'll get more than you ever want to know, frankly. But find me on LinkedIn or Twitter, or I'm on Facebook too. I'm more active on LinkedIn and Twitter, to be frank. But in the message, say, I saw you on Colleen's show, or I saw you on Lead Up for Women, because it makes a really big difference. I get a lot of incoming, and that way I'll actually reply to you and reach out. But the way that I work with clients is to say, I have an intake thing to ask some pretty unusual questions, if you will. So I don't look at, your resume, or I work with people mostly who are in a transition place. They want a different job. They want to transition to an industry. They got laid off, whatever, and they're looking at doing things differently. And so we do a deep dive on what is the voice you want to exercise now? What are the parts of yourself that you want to exercise now? And what do you bring to that? So I talk about it as of our lives and our skill sets as pieces of a puzzle. And right now, they might look like my bookshelf, okay? So they have a certain shape. But you want to rearrange them. So take the pieces apart. We take the pieces apart, and then we put them together in a different way that serves who you are more today, because who you are today is different than who you were even yesterday, much less 3 years ago, much less 5 years ago, much less 10 years ago when you were in yada, yada, yada. However, what you were doing 10 years ago may be what you want to do more of now all of a sudden. And that's okay. So we find a way to transfer your skills and repackage you to match who you want to be today. And we work through some of the resistance stuff of, oh, well, I'm not this enough, or, oh, I'm not that enough. Baloney. Okay. Just like erase. Anytime. Okay. If you leave here with nothing else, anytime you hear yourself say, no, I'm not enough X, just stop and say delete and reframe it in a positive. Yes, I am. I'm got what I need, and go on, because self-talk is so powerful. It's so powerful. I want to address what you asked me about publishing, though, because it's important. Today, a lot of people can call themselves a journalist, okay? And all journalism is not created equal. If you have a point of view that you want to get across, you have to decide what's your reason for wanting to get that point of view across. Is it that you want to, because reporting is literally interviewing people and then talking about what they said and doing research to back it up and using data, et cetera. You'll see on all of my stuff, I always have data points and history, et cetera. So it's not just bloviating, okay? It's not just ranting about your, no, you have to add value. If you have something that you want to add value about, like Ashley can write about finances, Indy can write about YouTube channel growth, and Colleen can write about 80,000 topics of growing your business. So you can find one angle, find one point that you want to make, and then get yourself some data points around it. Build your case like you would a business case. Find a couple people to interview on different sides of that issue, not just to support your point of view, and then publish it in LinkedIn. It's free, or Medium. It's free. And then distribute it to your network and start to build a brand doing that. But you have to if you want to really build a brand doing it, be consistent. You have to do it consistently and get the message out that way. And I'm happy to talk to anybody about it. And let me just tie the two together. When you want to transition to another career or a new field, or whatever the transition is, writing about it and showing how what you know now is transferable to that field is a great way to start building your credibility in that space. I have clients who transition from like HR to communications. Well, you know, I don't have any experience. When we dug in, we saw that they were doing a lot of communications work, but in an HR context. So we just flipped it over, turned it purple, got some data points, blah, blah, blah. And they started writing about things that showed how their skills and talents transfer into that other space.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you for that great advice. Again, greenconnectionsradio.com for Joan Michelson. And for Ashley Schmitz, she's going to be at eachpennybookkeeping.com. And go check out Indy Rossi. It's INDI Rossi, ROSSI on YouTube. Just type her in and you're going to see all of her YouTube videos. There's, I don't know, hundreds of them, thousands of them. They're amazing. But go check them out. You know, this is your opportunity to get to know some of the women in our community. And I want to thank all the ladies who have joined us today. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for really giving our listeners so much to contemplate about what's going on in their own lives. And ladies, remember, you are the only you that has ever been, and you are the only you that will ever be. So how you pioneer your future, how you show up, it's up to you. It's your choice. You have to give yourself the permission to step on the accelerator and click it to green and go. No one's coming. It's up to you. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I want to thank our guests, Ashley and Joan and Indy. Thank you so much, ladies, for your advice today. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast channel, which is on every podcast outlet, Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. That way you can get all of these interviews every week and be able to get this advice. Also, don't forget, next week on Wednesday, we also have Michelle Wilson with us. She is a talk TV show host and a business growth and marketing strategist. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk